Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Don't Overthink It Podcast. My name is Brett James, and I'm joined by my co-host, Darien Harris. Welcome back to episode 4. Man, NFL football is back. College football is back. We got week 1 of the NFL season this upcoming week, man. We got so much great content and a lot of great topics to talk about with you guys here today. And since we got a lot going on, we're going to make sure we try to fly through as much as possible. Before we kind of get into everything with today's podcast, Darien, man, tell me about your week, bro. I personally had a great weekend this weekend, and I think it was just great to see college football back for me. What about yourself?
Yeah, I had a great weekend as well. My team lost. Where our team lost, Gators got their behinds beat on Thursday. But other than that, you know what I'm saying, it was very fun to watch college football on the tube this week. That game last night for FSU and LSU was exciting. We had some other exciting matchups. Colorado made a statement win this past Saturday going up against TCU. So overall, man, it was nice to see. A lot of overreactions, but we got one more game tonight, Duke and Clemson. I'm pretty sure Clemson's going to watch them, but who knows, man? They might make it a game. So we'll see. But I'm excited, man. Week 2 is going to be special. Week 1 of the NFL season is starting Thursday, man. So I'm definitely excited, man. Football season is officially here. No more preseason, no more scrimmages, no more practices. It's all here, baby.
It is. And I mean, no more just propaganda, no more just hypotheticals kind of going into the season where everyone's just predicting and just making random offseason content, man. It feels so great. And like you said, man, I'm just glad that we even had college football back this weekend too. Kind of get everything going. What a great game. What a great atmosphere that LSU and Florida State game was, even though that was essentially a Florida State game here in Orlando.
Yeah,
just
definitely
a lot
was,
of great
man.
football to watch, you know.
Definitely was.
It definitely was. And I think that you're going to see a lot of great football moving forward too. Like I said, outside of just week 1 of the college football, where, a lot of teams just kind of blow out the other teams, because that's kind of what we do in Division One. When these Power 5 schools all go and play some small D3 school. But in general, like I said, it's just great to have football back, man. But kind of to get into the topics that we're going to be discussing with you guys here today. In the past with the podcast, we've already discussed our thoughts on the AFC South, the NFC East, and the NFC West. Since we got week 1, this upcoming Thursday, the Detroit Lions versus the Kansas City Chiefs to kick off the NFL season, we're going to make sure that we finish up the rest of the NFL standings. We're going to kind of fly through everything else when it comes to record prediction and thinking about where these teams are going to finish 1 through 4 in their respectable divisions. Then at the very end, we're going to kind of get into our award prediction winners. And then the very last topic that me and Darien are both going to cover is going to be on a weekly basis. We're going to go through the entire NFL schedule, pick our winners and our losers for those weeks. And we're going to be doing a track record overall pick 'em. And the loser of this award at the end of the season, whoever's got the better record, the loser has to owe the other person $50. So unfortunately, man, you might as well just choke up that $50 right now, because I know ball, man. And I'm about to win this money from you. We could have done something a little more egregious, but I was like, let's just keep it at money. We'll keep it at money. Put your money.
Yeah. We'll keep it, because the one you dropped today, man, I ain't gonna specify on the podcast, but I was like, I'm not doing that whatsoever. So $50 is cool.
Honestly, I feel like it's 2023. It ain't too bad. If we in 2015, different story. But I mean, shit, we are in Florida, So maybe we can't be doing all that though. But it's gonna be great, man. Let's just kind of get through and kind of fly through these division predictions when we talk about teams 1 through 4, and then at the end we'll kind of give a record prediction as well for these teams. I want to start off in the NFC, kind of finish up that conference before we get into the AFC, Darien. So let's start over in the NFC North. I think this is a really intriguing division when you talk about a lot of nuances too, and a lot of new players coming into the division. But I want to first of all talk about the Green Bay Packers really quickly. What do you think about Jordan Love in this situation? And just kind of let's fly through this.
Yeah, man. I actually have the Packers being my division winner by slight margin.
Okay.
Slight margin. I think Jordan Love's gonna have a very good season with Matt LaFleur. I think they're gonna have. It's gonna be. It's not gonna be anything crazy, but I think this offense is gonna be good enough. They got some good weapons. I love Christian Watson. Jalen Reed stepping in this year as a rookie. They have the run game with A.J. Dillon and Aaron Jones. The offensive line is still very solid, and defensively, I think this team is going to be a top 10 unit once again, with being fully healthy. But just to give my record prediction real quick, I have them going 9-8. I do have them finishing top seed in the NFC North. The Vikings, I have them being top for 9-8 as well, but I do have the Packers winning both matchups. That gives them the
Damn,
the division
tiebreaker.
lead. Yeah. The reason why I had the Vikings real quick on the second place, I don't think the Vikings would be that good. They could be worse than 9-8. Their defense definitely worries me. They didn't get much better on that side of the ball, and everybody's having the Brian Flores hire, and I agree, that's an exceptional hire, but he doesn't have the pieces in play to really have
Mhm.
that phenomenal defense that he had during his days with Miami. And also last year they won a lot of one-score games by I think they were like 11-1 in one-score games. That's not going to translate to this season, in my opinion. In third place, I have the Detroit Lions. I have them finish at 8-9. I'm not really a firm believer in the Detroit Lions team. I have to see it to believe it, man. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm a big fan of Dan Campbell, but at the same time, you got to
Mhm.
put, you know what I'm saying, the money where the mouth is, man. You got to start showing up and starting out fast. And I think defensively they'll be better, but I am worried about this offense a bit because not having some Jameson Williams in this offense is definitely going to be a bit of a hindrance in this receiving core, in my opinion, for the first 6 games. And then at 7-10, I had the Chicago Bears. Like I said, this division is going to be very tight. It's going to be a very fun race. I do think that the Bears could make a run, given the fact that their offense is going
Okay.
to be very special this year. But I will say the defense is still lacking in many key areas, most importantly, the interior defensive line and edge rusher. I do like the unique Ngakoue addition, but still, they don't really have any significant pass rusher. So, I got, like I said, Packers 1, Vikings 2, Lions 3, Bears 4. This is very interchangeable. It can go either way, but it's definitely going to be a tight race to about week 14, week 15 before we find out who the winner is going to be for real.
Yeah, I could agree with that. I think with the NFC North, I think this is going to be a lot tighter of a division, even though I have a little bit different standings when it comes to you. I do have the Packers winning this division, even though Jordan Love's going to be a first-year starter, and we really get to see how he's going to flourish in this Mike LaFleur system. I really like the pieces around him for a young quarterback to succeed in it. It's like we say he's a young quarterback, he's going into year 4, but he's never just really had an opportunity because obviously Aaron Rodgers was there in Green Bay. But, Romeo Dobbs, Christian Watson's a guy I like a lot. He's from the Tampa area. They obviously have probably the best backfield in the game of football right now with A.J. Dillon and Aaron Jones. Defensively, I expect this unit to get back to a top 10 defense like you said earlier. And I just think that there's a lot of things in place for a young quarterback like Jordan Love with his kind of talent to succeed in a division that's really kind of up for grabs. So I have the Green Bay Packers as my number 1 team in the NFC North. Number 2, I've actually got the Detroit Lions because I'm not a firm believer in the Minnesota Vikings, and I got to see to believe it with Justin Fields and the Chicago Bears team. So I like Dan Campbell a lot. I really like Jahmyr Gibbs, even though they are going to be missing an explosive playmaker in Jameson Williams for a good majority of the season. I like what Jared Goff did in the back half of the season. He was extremely efficient. I think 29 touchdowns and 7 interceptions last season. He proved to be a very good quarterback, and obviously you've got great pieces in place. Defensively, I don't really like this team, but obviously you're still going to talk about guys like Amon-Ra St. Brown and a handful of other great skill position players that they've got around them. Number 3, I've got the Minnesota Vikings finishing in the NFC North. As great as Kirk Cousins was last season, they obviously weren't able to get it done in the postseason. They did lose, they did win a lot of games in a lot of those close one possession games, like you mentioned earlier, too. Now they don't have Dalvin Cook. Yes, you bring in Jordan Addison in the draft, too. And obviously, Jay Jettis is arguably the best receiver in all of football. Not a firm believer in this Minnesota Vikings team when it comes down to it in the nit and gritty aspect of it, too. And then with the Chicago Bears, I do have them finishing 4th, but a respectable 4th in the NFC North because I'm a big believer in Justin Fields, right? I'm not going to sit here and act like as of right now, he's a top 10 or even a top 12 quarterback in the game of football. But I think now going into year 3 with a lot more confidence and a lot more, I guess, what's the word I'm looking for? Like football action that he's had. I guess
More playing
in these
time,
last
more
a lot
reps.
more playing time. Yeah, a lot more reps that he's had kind of under his belt now. He's going to be a lot more confident in the system. He's got a true wide receiver number 1 now in DJ Moore alongside Darnell Mooney and Chase Claypool. Cole Kmet. I mean, they've got solid pieces in place. And while their defense won't be great and this team won't be great, expect Justin Fields to have a hell of a season, even if it doesn't come in wins. I like the Chicago Bears to be a respectable 4th. So I've got the Green Bay Packers number 1, the Detroit Lions number 2, number 3, the Minnesota Vikings, and then at number 4 in the NFC North, the Chicago Bears. Sound
I'm
pretty
not mad at
respectable?
that. Yeah, I'm not mad at that. My only take on Minnesota one more time is why I have them finishing second, but also could be a detriment. I think their passing attack is going to be phenomenal this year. However, can they
Sure.
run the football? Because when they go against secondaries out there that can guard, and kind of box in the receivers, not to a large degree, but kind of hold guys like Justin Jefferson in check, KJ Osborne
Mm-hmm.
in check. Can TJ Hawkinson continue to play like a top 3 tight end? Can Jordan Addison step up this year as a rookie. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So I think his passing attack can definitely be nice, but the running game really worries me, man. And I think Kirk Cousins, there's nothing wrong with having a run game in this league, and I think you need a run game to really lean on when the passing attack might get boxed in a little bit. So we'll see.
Yeah. And the last thing I'll say about the NFC North is you had Green Bay finishing number 1, as did I, but you had them as, I believe, a 9-win team, correct?
Yes, 9-8.
I've got Green Bay finishing 11-6 this season. I think Jordan Love is going to still be a lot better than people are going to give him credit for, even if he's kind of a quote system quarterback, right?
Mm-hmm.
Kind of just, hey, make the right reads, get the check downs, take the deep shot when it's there over the top, when you got a guy like Christian Watson going down the field.
Mm-hmm.
I think for the most part, Jordan Love is going to do a really good job in his first year as a full-time starter. Let's get into the last division, though, in the National Football Conference in the NFC South. I think a lot of people, including ourselves, expect this division to be extremely weak, not very competitive in the overall grand scheme of things. But hey, somebody in this division has to win it, which means that they're going to make the playoffs. And let's actually go down this list. Darien, go ahead and talk to me 1 through 4, where you got these teams in the NFC South.
So ironically, you say you have the Packers finishing 9-8. I have the New Orleans Saints. Well, not 9-8. You say you have the Packers finishing 11-6. Ironically, I have the Saints finishing 11-6. I think the Saints team is going to be very good this year, man. I'm sorry.
My God. Oh my God. 11-6 for the Saints.
Yes, and this is why,
Oh
because I think, and hear me out on this, I think this is the most collectively sound, talented team that Derek Carr has had in his career, offensively and defensively. Yes, he had Devontae, Hunter, Darren Waller, Josh Jacobs last year, but that was his first time playing with those guys with the Raiders. Their defense was terrible. Now with the Saints, he has Michael Thomas, Chris Olave, Alvin Kamara when he comes back off suspension, Jamal Williams, a very solid offensive line that's better than his days in the Raiders. And I think this defense, they played phenomenal last year. And another reason why I think this team is going to win 11 games, they won 7 games last year with Andy Dalton and James Winston playing quarterback, also sprinkling in with Taysom Hill. I think this team is going to be special this year. They're going to blow past the schedule. I have the Falcons coming in 8-9. I think Arthur Smith is a respectable head coach. He gets the best out of his unit. But until I see Desmond Ridder in a full season sample size, I would justify them winning the division. As of right now, I don't have them winning it, but I think the run game's going to be special. Bijan, Tyler Algier, Cordell Patterson, Drake London offensively, the receiving core. Can Arthur Smith
still there?
But can Arthur Smith get him involved? Maybe. We'll see.
Right.
But the reason why I have the Falcons finishing second is I got to see it to believe with this defense. They made some big time moves. They brought in Calais Campbell to help out Grady Jerry, even though he's a bit older. The pass rush is still a little bit, weak in my opinion. I like the secondary with Jeff Okudah and AJ Terrell, and also like the back end with Jesse Bates and also Richie Grant. But it's still left to be desired.
Big Richie Grant guy.
Yeah. It's still left to be known and desired about this defense. Tampa, respect to them, I think they have a talented roster still, but Baker Mayfield is still Baker Mayfield at the end of the day. And even though he looked very promising in the preseason, I think we had to hold out judgment because this receiving core, this passing attack might be fun to watch. But in my opinion, from watching Baker throughout these years in the NFL, if he doesn't have a run game to lean on, his quarterback play definitely takes a downfall. So I have them finishing 7-10, but they do have talent to make it interesting this year. 5-12 is the Panthers, man. There's a lot of hype about this Panthers team entering the season. Their offense had a bunch of, a lot of, known names, but watching them in preseason, they look bad, right? The offensive line looks, very underwhelming. The run game doesn't really look anything right now, even though we didn't get to see Miles Sanders. So hopefully Miles and Chuba can step in and help out Bryce Young. I think Bryce Young's going to win or being, in consideration for Offensive Rookie of the Year. But the receiving core worries me. Their defense is going to be special, but can they put up points? And I don't know if Frank Wright really has the pieces in play to do that. So, number 1, the Saints 11-6. Number 2, the Falcons finish 8-9. The Buccaneers at number 3 finishing 7-10. And number 4, I have the Carolina Panthers finishing 5-12.
All right, half of what you said, I completely disagree with. The other half, I think it's respectable and I can kind of get on board with. So let me go number 1. I got the New Orleans Saints still winning the division this year in the NFC South. I don't think it's going to be a competitive division whatsoever, but they're not going to win 11 games this year. Even though you make a compelling argument, this is still a 9-8 team. This is a 9-8 team. They're going to win the NFC South pretty convincingly, but there's a lot of pieces, like you said, in place for Derek Carr to be extremely special. This defense is going to continue to be in a very top 10, I'd say, playing like that kind of form. I think there's a lot of pieces defensively that they've got. Obviously, you referred to Alvin Kamara when he comes back off of his suspension. Chris Olave. Who else am I missing off the top of my head? I mean, just a lot of weapons.
Rashid
with
Shaheed,
this New Orleans Saints.
Jawan Johnson.
Yeah, I mean, this New Orleans team has a lot of great pieces around Derek Carr, too. I just don't think that this is a double-digit win team. But, hey, you know what? We're going to wait to see how this kind of plays out. Number 2, Arthur Smith and the Atlanta Falcons will finish second in the NFC South. They're not going to make the playoffs, but it's the same reservations I have with Desmond Ridder. I need a full season of convincingly good football from Desmond Ridder to see that this Atlanta team can be good, because they do have offensive pieces. Defensively, I do like their secondary as well too. A.J. Terrell, Jesse Bates, Jeff Okudah, who they traded for from the Detroit Lions, Richie Grant. They've got a lot of promising pieces, and like you said, obviously Grady Jarrett's a little bit older, Calais Campbell's a little bit older, but they've got some solid pieces to be respectable. And then also, when you talk about offensively speaking, I think Bijan Robinson's going to do a great job this season. Can Kyle Pitts, like you said, get involved into this offense? Because he was extremely underwhelming last season. We know he can be one of the top tight ends in the game of football. Sure, there we go too. But you also look into the fact that he's just not a focal point in this offense, which is kind of sad, because you feel like his skill set should be utilized a lot better. Number 3, I've got the Carolina Panthers. I don't have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers finishing 4. I've got Carolina number 3. And even though this is only going to be a 5-win team, we've both got Carolina winning 5 games this upcoming season. Bryce Young's going to have his moments. I think he's the best quarterback in this year's draft class. And yes, he's going to have his rookies' ups and downs, just like any other rookie quarterback. DJ Chark has a little bit of a hamstring injury. Laviska Shenault, they obviously go and acquire Adam Thielen, even though DJ Moore went to Chicago this offseason. I like what Frank Reich can do for a young quarterback, especially with a talent like Bryce Young. He's going to have his struggles, like I said, but defensively, they've still got some pieces. I like Carolina being somewhat respectable this year. They're going to be a really nitty and gritty team. And then number 4, I've got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I'm not a believer in Baker Mayfield. I think they should have just went out there and rolled the dice with Kyle Trask, at least see what you got in him, because even though you've still got some talented receivers on the outside and obviously all pro level caliber receivers, we know what Baker Mayfield is. Like you said, his most talented and most successful days have came when he had a running game with guys like Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb to lean on in that defense. Even when he had all pro type of receivers and guys like Odell Beckham and guys like
Jarvis Landry.
Thank you, Jarvis Landry. I almost said Amari Cooper, but he never really got it. He didn't get that opportunity. He didn't get to play with him. No. He didn't get to play with Amari Cooper. But Baker Mayfield's just not that guy. He's an average quarterback at best. One moment he's going to look like, wow, this guy can take you down the field. Fourth quarter game-winning drive, and then the next week he's going to go out there 152 yards, a 38 quarterback rating, and 3 interceptions. That's just the guy that Baker Mayfield is. Not a believer in him. So I've got New Orleans finishing number 1 in the division, 9-8. Number 2, 8-9 will be the Atlanta Falcons. Number 3 will be the Carolina Panthers at 5-12. And number 4, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They're going to be a 4-13 team this upcoming season.
My one take on the Buccaneers, I feel like they're just too talented to be a you said a 3-win team or a 4-win team?
4-13.
They're too talented to be a 4-win team in my opinion. And also my opinion, I think this is the most talented team that Baker Mayfield has had at display since his playoff run with the Cleveland Browns. I mean,
okay,
yes,
good thing you said that. Good thing you said that.
He has Mike Evans, he has Chris Godwin, he has they have a Tyler Smith, I think is the receiver's name, or I forgot his name, man. He's like number 10 for them. He has a solid offensive line. He has a good defense to lean on as well. I mean, they have a new coordinator.
Very good defense. Yep.
They have a new OC that brings in some, fresh schemes and new light. So, I mean, we'll see. But Todd Bowles is a terrible head coach, so this all could be, just the last run for him and his time with the organization. They could be looking for the Drake, May, or Caleb Williams sweepstakes next year with a new head coach and probably GM in line as well. So we'll see.
They very well could be. And I mean, the last thing I'll kind of say about that is with the NFC South is I just don't believe in Baker Mayfield at all. I don't care about the talent around him. I've seen him with talent around him. And yes, he did go and get a playoff win when he was in Cleveland. He beat the Pittsburgh Steelers and honestly an impressive game. But nonetheless, Baker Mayfield is not that great of a talent. While the division is pretty weak, I don't expect Tampa Bay to be even remotely challenging to win this division. If they get 4 or 5 wins, I would expect that. But I have Tampa Bay right now as a 4-win team. But now let's get into the AFC. Let's kind of go through these division previews. And let's start off in the AFC West. Last season going into it, we were all looking at this like, yo, this is going to be the most tightly competitive division in all of football. You got Derek Carr. You've got Russell Wilson coming over from the Seattle Seahawks. You got Justin Herbert and Patrick Mahomes. And slowly but surely that division kind of flopped in the grand scheme.
Definitely did.
That division really did. Even though Kansas City ultimately won the Super Bowl, that division did not live up to the hype. But now, kind of going into 2023, into the season, it's looking like this division should be at least a little bit better overall in the grand scheme of things. So talk to me, Darien, about the AFC West.
Will it be better overall or not top ran heavy by the Chiefs. I think this division is still just two teams. Maybe the Broncos can make some noise, but they just got hit with a huge injury bug before the season even began. So I do like the addition of Sean Payton. Of course, he brings in his philosophies, and it should be better, way better than Nathaniel Hackett. But I think this division is going to be tightly raced between 1 and 2.
Mm-hmm.
I think the Chiefs finish 11-6. I think not having Chris Jones is going to be a bigger impact than what people are trying to speculate, man. Not having your best defensive player is huge, especially for a defense that's not already good, in my opinion, anyways. I think this offense is going to take a step back. I've already made a tick about this on my TikTok saying that this is going to be a dent in the dynasty year. They're going to make the playoffs, but they're going to be like, it's going to be a rough year. It's not going to be in years past where they go 14-3, 13-4, right? They just kind of blow past everybody. No, they're going to struggle a bit this year, man. There's a little bit of youth and not inconsistency, but incohesiveness in this receiving core outside of Travis Kelce. But you do have Patrick Mahomes, you have Andy Reid, so that's going to be able to make ground for a lot. But still, man, there's a lot to be desired in that receiving core. Number 2, I have the Chargers. I have them finishing 10-7. I almost had them winning this division, but I do believe I got to see more from the defense. In the Justin Herbert era, they've had the worst scoring defense possible in the NFL. It seems they've been like bottom 5 the last 4 years. This defense is fully healthy this year. You bring in J.C. Jackson back off his injury, Asante Samuel, Derwin James, Joey Bosa, Khalil Mack. The interior is still pretty weak in my opinion, but you did bring in Eric Kendricks, so you probably can get these guys aligned a lot better and, more cohesive on that side. Offensively, they have a lot of heavy hitters, of course. Herbert, Keenan Allen, Mike Williams, the rookie Quentin Johnston, Austin Eckler. You got your guy Rashawn Slater coming back off his injury. So 10-7 for this team. The Broncos finishing third, 6-11. I really had them being a sneaky playoff team this year, but the fact that this – oh, no. But before my prediction, I had them being a playoff team, but the injuries, Russell Wilson, the schedule is pretty brutal as well. I think they do, beat the Chiefs and Chargers at least one time this year, and maybe even the Raiders. But man, this the receiving corps, man. No Tim Patrick. Jerry Jeudy is nursing a ham injury right now. All you have is Cortland Sutton, Greg Dolch, Marvin Mims, and probably and even KJ Hamler is not on the team right now, man. So there's a lot of uncertainty offensively. I do love the run game. Javonte, Samaje Perine gonna be fun to watch. The O-line should be a lot better. But I got them 6 wins right now. It could prove me wrong, but we'll see, because the defense is definitely still special. For the Raiders, 4-13. The Raiders are going to be bad this year. They could be worse than that. I think they're going to be a terrible team this year. I'm not a believer in Josh McDaniels at all, and I hope he gets fired after this year. I really want them to go into a full rebuild mode, man. Stop trying to Band-Aid patch a gun wound. Go ahead and trade away Devontae. Trade away any other pieces you might want to do. Build around Max Crosby and go for a young quarterback in next year's draft and get a better head coach, because this Raiders team is terrible in my opinion. So, yeah. So 1, Chiefs, 10-7, 11-6. Chargers 2, 10-7. 3, the Broncos, 6-11, and dead last, the Las Vegas Raiders, 4-13.
Okay, I feel like we don't have too much of a disagreement when it comes to what this division is going to kind of shape out to be. Me and you have number 1 and number 2 flip. So I'm going to start with number 1. I've got the Los Angeles Chargers finally getting over that hump. They're going to win the AFC West this upcoming season, because having Chris Jones out, whether it is 2, 4, 6, 8 weeks, however the case may be, Chris Jones being out is going to be a huge hit to this Kansas City Chiefs team. I don't think that they're going to be able to walk kind of all over the AFC like we've seen in years past. And obviously not having a true number 1 wide receiver, I think, is really going to hurt them this upcoming season. I guess we'll have to see how that kind of plays out. But kind of getting back to the Los Angeles Chargers, Kellen Moore coming to this offense and then adding a guy like Quentin Johnston, obviously being able to retain Austin Eckler, I thought was huge. I expect another huge season from a very talented quarterback in Justin Herbert with the weapons that he's got in place around him defensively. While they have been pretty porous for the most part, I do think that this Chargers defense is going to finally find a way to step it up when you have such a high-scoring, explosive offense. They're going to be able to do a lot more when it comes to generating pressure and getting home towards the quarterback. Then I got number 2, the Kansas City Chiefs. You look at their receiver core, and yes, we know that they won the Super Bowl last season without Tyreek Hill at the helm, but they still got guys like MVS, Kadarius Toney. There's Sky Moore coming into his second year as well, too. The Chiefs still have, obviously, great talented players in place, and when you have Travis Kelce, Patrick Mahomes, and Andy Reid, you're going to have an opportunity to win almost every single game. But I think this is Kansas City's year to take, quote, a little bit of a step back this year. Then kind of going into number 3, I've got the Denver Broncos. I have them finishing 3rd in this year's division. Not a believer in Russell Wilson, especially after what I saw last year. Obviously, Sean Payton's going to try to really reform and try to get Russell Wilson playing back at an MVP caliber level. But like we've talked about, they got hit with the injury bug nasty. He doesn't really have the weapons in place. How many years are we going to keep saying when Jerry Jeudy comes back, man, this is Jerry Judy's breakout year? He just needs one more year before this guy's going to break out. I still think the talent's there. I still think he's a great player. I just don't really like this Denver Broncos team in general. And then number 4, I got the Las Vegas Raiders. I think you were a little bit harsh on them, Darien, when you talk about how egregious and how bad that team is. I still have them finishing at the bottom of the division, but they still got some talented players around them. Yes, I don't think Josh McDaniels is a great coach, but they've still got good players around Jimmy Garoppolo, and Jimmy Garoppolo has been successful with Josh McDaniels in the past too. Obviously, you retain Josh Jacobs. You have Devontae Adams. You have guys like Hunter Renfrow as well too. Austin Hooper they brought in.
Jacoby Myers, Michael Mayer.
Jacoby Myers. They've still got good players around them. And then defensively, they've got okay players, obviously, around Chandler Jones, Max Crosby being the biggest piece. They need to go into the quarterback sweepstakes in next year's draft, I agree, but I don't think this team's going to be as bad as you make them out to be just because you simply look at the talent around them, even in a tough division. So I've got number 1 in the AFC West, the Los Angeles Chargers finishing 11-6. Number 2, give me the Kansas City Chiefs at 10-7. Number 3, the Denver Broncos. They're going to be a 7-10 team. And then number 4, the Las Vegas Raiders at 6-11.
Okay, that's not bad. That's not bad.
Not too bad. I just don't think Vegas is going to be a 4-win team. I think you're just kind of pushing a narrative at that point too, because I don't push narratives. I could never do that.
I guess I'm trying to push a narrative of, hey man, get rid of Josh McDaniels. He sucks. He should have never been hired. And a lot of Raiders fans are just ready to get it over with as well, man. So I'm trying to help them out and push out that good voodoo for them.
Yeah, they need to go get a better young head coach at this point in their career when it comes to this roster.
For sure.
Yeah, man, just trade Devontae to Jacksonville, man. I'll give you a 7th, bro. How about that?
That'll be amazing. That'll be amazing for sure.
Yeah, put Christian Kirk in the slot, Calvin Ridley and Devontae on the outside. Raps. It's raps.
What about Zay Jones? Where are you going to play?
Zay Jones can sit pretty and look on the bench and smile and wave to the fans. That's what Zay Jones can do at that point. If we got Devontae Adams, and I mean that respectfully, Isaiah. If we got Devontae Adams and Calvin Ridley and Christian Kirk out there, boy, you're not seeing the field. I'm sorry.
Trade him back to Las Vegas?
Nah, I couldn't do that to him. He's too good of a guy. He's too nice of a guy. All right, getting into another division in the AFC. Let's go AFC North, another division that I think is going to be the most competitive division in all of football. Darien, talk to me about the AFC North.
Yeah, man, this is definitely a very, very tough division. It was hard for me to really kind of, put this division in place, mainly because I was trying to hold out to the Joe Burrow news, but he's healthy to start week 1. So let's get right into this. The Bengals have finished 12-5. I actually had the Bengals capturing the 1 seed in the AFC this year. I love this offense. Joe Burrow is going to be gearing up for an MVP year. I think Jamar Chase is going to be gearing up for an Offensive Player of the Year as well. This defense is very solid as well. Lou Anarumo is one of the best defensive coordinators in the game, and I think this team is going to be the 1 seed. Number 2, I had the Baltimore Ravens finish 11-6. Anytime the Ravens are a healthy team with Lamar Jackson leading the way, they are one of the best teams in the AFC for sure. Their offense is going to be a lot different from what we've seen in years past. No more Greg Roman. You got Todd Monken coming in, a more spread out type of offense, passing it around a lot more. But you're still going to be able to use the legs and the dual threat ability of Lamar Jackson, and also this run game should still be pretty solid. Defensively, I like their front 7. Roquan Smith leads the way. The secondary definitely kind of worries me outside of Marlon Humphrey, Kyle Hamilton, and Marcus Williams, but you do have some veteran guys and Rocky Sin and also Ronald Darby. So they have some solid names. It's just, a little bit.
And Marlon Humphrey is also going to miss the first couple weeks of the season too with that injury.
Oh, shoot. I didn't peep that. Well,
I don't think it's going to be like anything like long term. I think it's just a 3 week injury, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay. Well, they should be. They should at least go 2-1 in the first 3 weeks. 10-7, I have the Pittsburgh Steelers. I'm not sure if this is good enough to get them to the playoffs, but I do have them winning 10 games, man. This Steelers team looked legit in the preseason. I know it's preseason ticket for a small sample size, man, but Kenny Pickett has figured out this Matt Canada offense. The run game looks very special with Najee Harris and Jalen Warren. The receiving core looks nice with George Pickens, Deontay Johnson, Allen Robinson, Pat Fryermuth, Calvin Austin as your slot guy that can be a special teams gadget as well. I mean, defensively, we already know how they're coming. TJ Watt, Casey Hayward. You got guys like Alex Highsmith. The secondary definitely kind of, worries me a bit. A lot of older guys and Patrick Peterson, but youth and Joey Porter Jr. But that backfield, Minkah Fitzpatrick, is going to be able to hold things down, of course. So 10-7 for the Steelers. 9-8, unfortunately, I have the Browns. Now, I know I've specified this before on my page if people follow me. I said the Browns are a sneaky conference championship team. However, I'm holding out right now, and I came back down to my senses given the fact that Deshaun Watson has to put together a good season, right? They're not getting to the conference championship unless Deshaun Watson get back to being a top 10 quarterback. I'm sorry. Yeah, they have the pieces offensively. They have the run game of Nick Chubb, who is the best running back in football, in my opinion, right now. But they need to get the best quarterback play out of Deshaun. And Kevin Stefanski has to call better games, man. If the run game is working, stick to the run game. Don't try to force Deshaun to be something that he might not be anymore. Defensively, Jim Schwartz is going to have this defense humming, in my opinion. I think this might be the best Browns defense we've seen in quite some time. And this roster is a top 5 roster in the league, probably top 3, maybe number 1 outside of the Eagles, right? But a lot remains to be seen with Deshaun Watson, man. Can he get back to it? We didn't really see much of it in preseason. It is preseason, like I said, small sample size, but I do have them finishing 9-8. So to run through this real quick, the Bengals 12-5, first place. Second place, the Baltimore Ravens 11-6. Third place, the Pittsburgh Steelers finishing 10-7, and in fourth place, I have the Cleveland Browns finishing 9-8. However, we could see very, very slight chance, but we could see at least 3 of these 4 teams in the AFC playoffs this season. So we'll see how that goes.
I don't disagree with much of what you said. I definitely think it's plausible that we could see 3 out of these 4 teams in the AFC North make the postseason. And, going over my record prediction before I actually get into number 1, this is by far the most difficult division to handpick who's going to win, who's going to finish where in the seeding. But number 1, I've got the Baltimore Ravens, and we're going to obviously assume all health. If Lamar Jackson can stay healthy and remain healthy throughout the entirety of the season, because if you look back to the last 2 seasons, he missed the last 6 games of the last 2 seasons. And we know when Lamar Jackson's on the field, he's electric. He's a dynamic playmaker. To me, he's still a top 5 quarterback when he's healthy and he's on the field. I still feel like Lamar Jackson still does not get the respect he deserves, even after being a unanimous MVP in 2019. He's going to be back in an MVP form this year. Obviously, Greg Roman's out. You mentioned that earlier. Odell Beckham comes in as a flowers in the draft. You've still got Rashad Bateman, who I expect to have a big year this year because they're not going to be as reliant upon a guy and an older guy coming off an injury like Odell Beckham. Defensively, they still got some pieces in place, and I just double-checked and looked it up, though. Marlon Humphrey's going to be out the first month of the season. I thought it was going to be about 3 or 4 weeks, so Marlon Humphrey did have his foot surgery
a
couple of weeks ago.
Sure. Definitely.
Yeah, so, I mean, they still got some pieces there defensively. I expect them to still be well and respectable. So, number 2, I've got the Cincinnati Bengals. I fear Joe Burrow could be rushing himself back because that's the ultimate competitor in him. And obviously, I hope I'm wrong. I really hope Joe Burrow does not re-aggravate his calf strain or really find himself injured or really, just kind of banged up. Yeah, I don't want that for him because Joe Burrow is a great guy and he's obviously an extremely talented quarterback. He's one of the faces of the NFL. I just really hope that he can continue to remain healthy for the remainder of the season. I hope he's not rushing himself back because if you saw a couple weeks ago, Jamar Chase even himself was like, I don't want him to come back to like week 4. But I think Joe Burrow understands what's at stake in the AFC, what's at stake for this division, because you look at their first 2 games, they've got divisional games in weeks 1 and in week 2. So I've got Cincinnati still finishing second. I hope Joe Burrow stays healthy the rest of the season. Number 3, I've got the Cleveland Browns. I think that this team gets back into form because Deshaun Watson is a top 10 quarterback. Last season, I'm throwing that out the window. Deshaun Watson, yes, as of right now, is a top 10 quarterback. I still believe in this guy when we're talking on the field. Yes, he's going to get back to 2020 form. I don't know if he's going to be as great as he was in 2020, how electric he was, how dynamic he was scrambling out of the pocket, making every deep throw. But this is the year you're going to see he's got a year under his belt. He's got a lot more of a training camp and a lot of that rust off. He's not coming in, in week 14 off of suspension. Deshaun Watson's going to prove to everybody yet again why he's a top 10 quarterback in the game of football. And then number 4, I've got Pittsburgh finishing in last place, but it's a respectable last place. I've said it before, and I'm going to say it yet again. Kenny Pickett is going to have a better season this year than Dak Prescott. Kenny Pickett is going to have a great year in the league this year. Pat Freiermuth, Najee Harris, Deontay Johnson, George Pickens. They obviously got in the draft Darnell Washington as well too. They've got some pieces. Obviously, TJ Watt comes back to this team. Cam Hayward, you mentioned Minka Fitzpatrick. Mike Tomlin can't lose. This guy just refuses to lose. It doesn't matter who's playing quarterback. I could be back there with Kenny Pickett in the backfield. We're still going to find a way to win 9 games at least. So, number 1, I've got the Baltimore Ravens finishing 12-5. Number 2, I've got the Cincinnati Bengals finishing 11-6. Number 3, I've got the Cleveland Browns finishing 10-7. And number 4, I've got the Pittsburgh Steelers finishing 9-8. So, it's going to be an extremely tight division. The separation between 1 and 4 is literally 3 games. I like the Baltimore Ravens, if they remain healthy the entire season, to go ahead and win this year's division. I think Lamar Jackson's going to be in that MVP conversation at the end of it.
Okay, I'm not mad at that. I do believe it definitely does come down to Joe Burrow stuff, because I think if he ends up being be able to play at least 16 games this season, I think they do win this division. I'm a firm believer in this Bengals team. I think they're my Super Bowl pick, so maybe that's why I am leaning more on them. I have them getting to the Las Vegas in February, so maybe that's why I'm kind of sticking to my guns with the Bengals this year.
100%. I mean, it's hard to bet against Joe Burrow, and I personally wouldn't be the one to. It's really just him coming off that calf injury is ultimately what scares me. But I think you're going to see Lamar Jackson healthy this year, play himself at an MVP level like you saw in 2019, where he was clearly the MVP, and obviously that was validated by being a unanimous MVP. Let's get into the last division in the AFC. Let's talk about the AFC East, another division that's been talked about a lot because we have a 4-time MVP, former Super Bowl MVP coming to the AFC East from the Green Bay Packers, Aaron Rodgers. Darien, talk to me about the AFC East now.
Yeah, I'm fly through this one. The Bills, first place. Until proven otherwise, man, they're the team to beat in the AFC East right now, right? I think a lot of people are kind of counting them out because they're the older squad. They weren't able to achieve the things they should have achieved years ago. But, I mean, they still have Josh Allen, the second best quarterback in football. This team is still solid. You still got Stephon Diggs, and they'll figure it out, right? Sean McDermott has a lot on his plate, though, in my opinion, calling the defense this year. But I still believe in this team. Second place, I do have the New York Jets. I think they will make a playoff this year. Aaron Rodgers will end the drought that's been set since 2010, right? They have a phenomenal defense, most importantly, right? Arguably the best defense in football. Offensively, it's going to take some weeks to get going. I think it's going to get put together after about week 3, week 4. They'll get things going. Of course, you have Breece Hall, Dalvin Cook, Garrett Wilson, A-Rod, of course, Alan Lazard, Mecole Hardman. The receiving core is a bit worrisome because outside of Garrett Wilson, there's not a lot of other guys, like a legit wide receiver too. I guess it could be Alan Lazard, but he doesn't really put fear in my heart, in my opinion. He's a good blocking receiver, a good jump ball receiver. And he's also Aaron Rodgers is, a reliable target for him, but he's not like a game changer in my opinion. So offensive line is very solid as well. Number 3, I had the Miami Dolphins. I think someone has to be an underwhelming team this year. I think it's the Miami Dolphins. I think the moves they made this offseason were, really dedicated on bringing in Jalen Ramsey. Jalen Ramsey tears his Achilles, or no, my bad. He tears he tore his MCL or something like that.
He'll be back in late December.
Yeah, but it might be too little too late. You know what I'm saying? I think if he was on this team, I think it makes a big difference because his defense looks a totally lot better with him on the field. I know they brought in Vic Fangio because he could definitely be a game changer as a defensive coordinator, but not having Ramsey is big. And I also believe they just lost who is their other corner, man? They traded away Noah Iguanagami. He's not really anybody special,
right?
But
he was a bust.
Did Kader Kohu get hurt? I think one of their other cornerbacks got hurt. Look it up.
I didn't hear about that. I better look that up while you go on.
But outside of that, I love their front seven. Of course, I think Christian Wilkins is a very underrated defensive tackle. I love the year 3 of Jalen Phillips this year, year 4, whatever year he's entering. But offensively, we already know what they get in Tua, Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle. But they still have no run game, in my opinion, and it's left to be desired about, Jeff Wilson and also Raheem Mostert. So, I have them finishing 3rd place, and then dead last I have the New England Patriots. I think they'll be a respectable team, but they don't move me this year, man. They're gonna have a top 10 defense, but other side of that, man, there's just a bunch of names on offense that kind of, don't move me. So, anyways, number 1. Bills, I have them finish 11-6. Number 2, the New York Jets have them finished 10-7. They will make a playoff game this year. Number 3, I have the Miami Dolphins finishing 8-9, and for last place in the AFC East, I have the New England Patriots finishing 6-11.
Yeah, not too much we disagree with here either. Real quick to get to your point about the Dolphins, though. Xavier Howard and Kader Ako still good to go. Kelvin Joseph, Cam Smith, who they obviously got in the draft too, all healthy. Everyone's good. Nothing news injury-wise that I saw outside of obviously
I guess
who got traded this offseason.
I guess I must have misread something. I could have swore they said one of their DBs got hurt, or he might have went down. I don't know.
I'm not seeing nothing on that.
That's good that he's healthy, though. That's big time, because if he was out, that would have been even worrisome for sure. But
and obviously, Jalen Ramsey being the type of corner that he is, still a top 3 corner in the game of football. That makes a big difference. But I'll kind of fly through the AFC East as well, too. Don't got much to say. Obviously, number 1, the Buffalo Bills. Josh Allen, the third, not second, third best quarterback in the game of football. They're still going to finish number 1 in the AFC East. I think they're going to be a 12-5 team. Very respectable, very good. They've got the chemistry and the continuity of playing together. Obviously, not having Von Miller for the first at least 4 weeks as he remains on the physically unable to perform list. That's going to be a little bit of a hit to the defensive line, but they've still got one of the best defenses in the game of football. I think they're a top 5 unit in general. Number 2, I've got the Miami Dolphins. I like Miami to finish number 2 in the division if they remain healthy. I know Tua's health is the biggest concern, but like I said, we're just going to, play devil's advocate and say Tua's going to be healthy the entire year. It's still going to be an explosive offense. And I want to say for the record, they obviously were not able to acquire a Jonathan Taylor or a Dalvin Cook this offseason. I think a sneaky good running back pickup for this offense could be a guy like Leonard Fournette, who's still out there. He's still got a little bit of juice in the tank, and obviously we know playoff plenty is very much a real thing. He's not going to be a 3-down back. Obviously, he's not going to get a majority of the carries, but I think in goal line situations, Leonard Fournette could be really big for this Dolphins offense in a lot of different ways. We saw what he did, obviously, in Tampa these last couple of seasons. Number 3 in the AFC East, I've got the New York Jets, and it's not because I don't believe in Aaron Rodgers and his talent. I believe in this defense, and I like the pieces that they've obviously got around them. Obviously, getting Breece Hall back off of injury. They acquired Dalvin Cook. We talked about Garrett Wilson, who is going to be wide receiver number 2. They've still got CJ Uzama. I like this offense a lot, too. And honestly, Aaron Rodgers can make any wide receiver look like a future All-Pro and future first ballot Hall of Famer. So I'm not worried about Aaron Rodgers' talent. It's more so the nuances of playing in New York, and they've got an extremely tough schedule. They could get off to a rocky start real quick and things could kind of continue to slope downhill, because if there's one thing I've seen about Aaron Rodgers, even as great as a regular season talent as he is when things start to kind of go wrong, he's kind of the 1 foot in, 1 foot out guy. And this has been a repeated thing throughout him and his career, especially these last couple of seasons. I'm not wishing that on him. I just don't see the New York Jets being all that successful this upcoming season, especially with the expectations that's going to be placed on them. And Hard Knocks is going to show a whole lot this upcoming season. I promise y'all that, especially when things start to go wrong for the Jets. But number 4, I've got respectable to Bill Belichick. They're going to finish number 4, but they're going to be a respectable number 4 team in the AFC East. So I got number 1, the Buffalo Bills, finishing 12-5. Number 2, the Miami Dolphins, assuming Tua's health, they're going to be an 11-6 team. Number 3, the New York Jets at 10-7. And at number 4, respect to Bill Belichick, this is going to be a 7-10 New England Patriots type of team, because I still think that their defense is going to be enough to keep Mac Jones afloat. And obviously Bill O'Brien's going to be big for Mac Jones in that offense.
I got you. I think the reason why I have the Dolphins real quick at the third seed in the division, being 8-9, is because I'm playing devil's advocate on Tua just showing me what he's done in the past. He can't stay healthy, right? We haven't seen a healthy Tua play a full season of football, not even just NFL football, but football in general since college. Since his sophomore campaign, he's dealt with ankle injuries, had that bad hip, of course.
Hip injury.
Hip injury, now the concussions. So we've yet to see Tua play a full 17-game season, even plus 10 games. So until proven otherwise, man, I have to just count on Tua not being healthy again this year. So we'll see.
No, it definitely is. And I mean, we obviously saw Skylar Thompson was their backup quarterback, and then went head-to-head all the way down to the wire with Buffalo in the wild card round like that.
They brought in Mike White.
They did. And I just really think that Mike McDaniel's offense, and like I said, assuming to his health, Miami's going to be the number 2 team in the AFC East this year. I think still a lot of people are sleeping on them. Obviously, having Jalen Ramsey out there would have made a world of a difference. But that's just where I've got this Miami Dolphins team in the AFC East stacking up in general. And the last thing I want to say about them that I forgot to mention is I've said this before to Darien. I'm going to say it right here on the pod. Josh Allen, the quarterback for the Buffalo Bills, not Jacksonville's Josh Allen, has already hit his ceiling, in my opinion, as a talent and as a quarterback, right? That doesn't mean he's not a phenomenal guy. I think he's a top 3 quarterback in the game of football until proven otherwise. I still think he has the potential and the talent to take the Buffalo Bills to the Super Bowl and potentially get them a Super Bowl ring one day. But I think you've already seen Josh Allen hit his absolute ceiling and his potential as a quarterback in the game of football too. Doesn't mean that he can't still be good and still dominate for another 10 years, but I don't think you're going to see much room for improvement. I think he's kind of already where he's at. What do you think about that real quick?
I think Josh Allen's the second best quarterback in football, and I think he is
I think
Josh
Joe Burrow
Allen.
is, but okay.
Nah, Josh Allen is still that guy, man. I mean,
He is
the
that
way
guy.
I
Just number
think the
3.
way he does way more, in my opinion, than Joe Burrow. Just looking at it from a grand scheme, he has
The
he,
talent,
he
yeah.
has Stephon Diggs, and he does everything. He's the passing game, he's the run game, he is the operation of that offense, and that cannot be dismissed given the fact that he has not been able to achieve the same playoff success as Joe Burrow. I know that means a lot in the grand scheme. We're looking at pound for pound, the quarterbacks. Looking at both of them, you have to go Josh Allen. He has a better arm. He's more mobile. And I just think that he is the better quarterback. Now, it can be different this year after this season, maybe. But Josh Allen's a hell of a quarterback, man. I think he is definitely hasn't peaked. And I think anytime you have Josh Allen on your team, you are in the championship window, man. I think he's just a phenomenal guy, man. He's a great quarterback. Great quarterback.
He is a great quarterback. Everything you said, I think the arm talent, I think, is better. I think the mobility, and I think, like you said, everything he's done to put this team on his shoulders, he is that offense. The amount of hits this guy takes, the way he sacrifices his body. Josh Allen is that guy. He's a top 3 quarterback. But I think pound for pound, I think Joe Burrow is a guy who I trust more. I like Joe Burrow in the clutch. I'm not saying Josh Allen can't be, because I've seen it plenty. But I like Joe Burrow as the overall better just quarterback. I think he's that guy.
One last thing. Do you think Joe Burrow is a better quarterback because he beat Mahomes head-to-head twice? Or
No.
Okay.
No, I mean, sure, that you definitely have to factor that into it, right? Going to Arrowhead and convincingly winning twice does mean something. But no, I mean, they would have won a third time had Joseph Asai not had that penalty at the end of the game too, right? So Joe Burrow would have been in another Super Bowl, but that's neither here nor there. I think pound for pound, I think the talent, I would say, is Josh Allen and everything he's done to sacrifice his body, put that Buffalo Bills team on his back over these years. Yeah, I would say it's Josh Allen. But I think when you talk about overall success and also just the belief that I have in one quarterback, I would run through a brick wall for Joe Burrow if I was, on his team, if I was on the coaching staff. Something about Joe Burrow just has this poise, I think, this calming effect over a team. Everyone believes in this guy. So, I mean, to me, it's interchangeable, but I'm just personally rocking with Joe Burrow just a little bit more than I am Josh Allen. Now that we've kind of wrapped up the divisions, kind of wrapped up the standings and the record predictions, let's kind of get into our award predictions. We're going to save MVP for last. So let's get into the major award predictions. Darien, who's going to be your offensive player of the year this year?
My offensive player of the year is Jamar Chase out of Cincinnati. I think rookie of the year a few years back, last year during the sophomore campaign, dealt with injuries. But this is the year that he wins offensive player of the year, in my opinion. I think he goes for 17, close to 1,800 yards this season.
I mean, that's a very good take.
13 touchdowns.
Yeah, I mean, you can't count Jamar Chase out. Obviously, a top 5 wide receiver in the game of football. My offensive player of the year this year is going to be Lamar Jackson. I mentioned it earlier in the pod. If this guy stays healthy, he's in that MVP conversation. I don't think he ultimately gets that MVP nod this year, but in a new system, a lot of great pieces around him. And we didn't even mention Mark Andrews earlier when we were talking about the Ravens.
No, we didn't.
Lamar Jackson has so much talent around him. He is this offense still. Lamar Jackson's going to be my offensive player of the year. Now let's get into the defensive player of the year. Darien, who do you got?
I have Myles Garrett. It is time for Myles Garrett to capture that award. I think if you're considered the best defensive player in football, you need some hardware to go along with that argument. I think his counterparts, his peers that are in the same conversations as him, Nick Bosa, TJ Watt, have captured that award. So has Aaron Donald. It is time for Myles Garrett to get that award, and I think he will this season, given the fact that this Browns defense will be very good.
I like that pick a lot too. I've got another edge rusher, but I'm going to head down south outside of Ohio. In the grand state of Texas, give me Micah Parsons winning this year's Defensive Player of the Year. Micah Parsons has had a historically great first 2 seasons in the NFL. Year 3, he's going to absolutely obliterate his competition. I like Micah Parsons this year to be my Defensive Player of the Year, and I can't hate on Myles Garrett either because he's going to be right there in that conversation. I think Cleveland personally is a top 3 defensive unit in the game of football, obviously led by Myles Garrett. So I think that's a great pick right there. Now, Darien, who's going to be your coach of the year?
I'm gonna go with Doug Peterson, man. I'm trying to not be objective. Biased about it. I'm trying to be objective as possible, but I think Doug Peterson. If you think that the Jaguars are going to be 13-4 this year, and I believe they're going to be 12-5 and be a second place team in the AFC, I think you look no further than Doug Peterson or maybe Zach Taylor. But I got Doug Peterson winning it. I think Trevor Lawrence is going to have a phenomenal year. This Jaguars team is going to be very good this year. They're going to win some big-time games, and it's going to be to large part of the greatness and coaching scheme and philosophies of Doug Peterson.
Yeah, one award that we can agree on. I've got Doug Peterson winning this year's Coach of the Year. I think there was a very strong case and argument last year, even though Brian Daboll won it, that Doug Peterson could have been last year's Coach of the Year. The Jaguars were 3-7 at one point and rallied back to 9-8, won their division at Jacksonville versus the Tennessee Titans. And Doug Peterson's a phenomenal head coach. Obviously, former Super Bowl winning head coach. I like Doug Peterson winning this year's Coach of the Year because I think the Jaguars are going to be a 13-4 team, being as completely objective as possible. Trevor Lawrence is going to have an MVP level kind of campaign, and the Jaguars will be the number 1 seed in the AFC. When you look at the overall competition, and the Jaguars have the 11th easiest schedule in the NFL, the Jaguars should take care of business. They're going to have some big primetime matchup games with guys like the 49ers, the Baltimore Ravens, the Cincinnati Bengals, the Kansas City Chiefs in week 2. The Jaguars got to take advantage of those games and prove to everybody that they can be perennial AFC contenders. Doug Peterson's going to be my Coach of the Year. Now let's get into Comeback Player of the Year. Darien, who do you got?
I mean, the easy one. I think if he just takes a snap on the field, right? If he just shows his face, it's going to be number 3 for the Buffalo Bills, Damar Hamlin, and rightfully so, right? This dude had a catastrophic injury on the field in Cincinnati, and he wasn't breathing, right? And he was brought back to life. He was, rehabilitated, got back, and now he's playing football. And that's amazing to see. I think it's definitely going to be Damar Hamlin, no matter what. But if I had to throw in another name,
say it.
I kind of want to say Lamar or Russell Wilson. I'll go Russell Wilson, maybe.
Come on, man. Russell Wilson's corny as hell, bro.
If the Broncos can have a special season,
you pick the corniest guy to pick. You pick the corniest guy.
If the Broncos can have a solid season and Russell Wilson plays solid football, he could win comeback. Because the comeback player of the year doesn't care. It doesn't worry about injuries anymore. It's just all about like what you did years prior to now. So if he had a bad year this year and he comes back and throws, hypothetically speaking, 30 touchdowns, he'll win comeback player of the year for sure. So we'll see.
Okay, Russell Wilson's not sniffing 30 touchdowns this year. Let's just be honest about that. And real quick, define having a solid season for Russell Wilson and the Broncos, because you said he has a solid season.
So if they finish 7-10, 6-11, right?
That's where I have them, 7-10.
But Russell goes out there and gives you 25 touchdowns and around 8 interceptions and close to 4,000 yards passing. I think he has a good chance to win the comeback player of the year. He'll be in the running for sure.
I think
compared
he's in the
to last year,
scenario, but that's
go ahead.
I said in that scenario that you just threw out, yeah, I think he's in the running. I think he's in the conversation. I lost all faith in Russell Wilson. I don't care that Nathaniel Hackett's out the door. That was just too much regression. And now with a even more depleted wide receiver room, no, I'm sorry. I don't believe in Russell Wilson.
Hold on now. I'll play devil's advocate because when Nathaniel Hackett got fired, we saw OG Russell Wilson play those last few weeks of football, and he looked very comfortable out there. A lot of rolling out the pocket, moving his legs, making throws on the run, not trying to dissect the offense, but dissect the defense, going out there making plays. As soon as
Urban Meyer got fired, Trevor Lawrence played a solid last couple of games. He beat the Colts in Week 18, looked like a franchise quarterback. Yeah, I get it.
Oh, so that means a lot. So you get the cancer out of the room. You bring in Sean Payton, who is a phenomenal quarterbacks coach and a phenomenal head coach. I think he can bring Russell Wilson back to relevancy.
All right, we can agree to disagree because I'm not a believer. All right, my comeback player of the year, we both agree here yet again on our award. He shows his face. He's not a decoy. He came back to life. What a heartfelt story this all was. I was definitely, as a fan, because I was watching that game live, probably one of the scariest moments I've ever witnessed or even felt. And I can't even imagine everyone that was in Cincinnati watching that game, especially in that stadium. That was just a crazy. So I got Damar Hamlin winning comeback player of the year, right? I think my runner-up would be Odell Beckham Jr. personally. I
I
like
like I
Odell
like that.
Beckham.
I like that.
I like Odell to be the runner-up for that award too. I don't think he's going to be as highly used as a Rashad Bateman will be into this offense, and obviously a Mark Andrews, but I think Odell's going to put together a relatively good season, especially at 31 years of age, even coming off an ACL injury. I like Odell to really make an impact on this Baltimore Ravens team. He would be my runner-up for comeback player of the year. What were you going to say, though?
I was finna say, Cincinnati Bengals fans from the timeline for I remember, they were being pretty disheartening when it came to the Damar Hamlin injury. I guess because they weren't giving the proper information they thought they deserved during the time of the game. They wanted the game to extend. They felt as if they got cheated out the 1 seed. They were acting a little bit shameless out there. And also, real quick, when you get Lamar Jackson take, not Lamar Jackson, Odell Beckham take, I think he is going to be the wide receiver 1 for this team this year. I think he's going to have a huge load on this offense. So I think that's a great pick. That's a great pick.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I think Odell, just strictly off of, like I said, the usage, will be the second runner-up, but I just think that Damar Hamlin comes in, and especially if this guy makes a pick during the regular season, I mean,
man,
that'll be great, but I think Damar Hamlin just wins comeback player of the year for all the reasons that we listed
catch
above.
a pick. You might as well just go ahead and put his name on the trophy right now.
No, for real. They already got his name on the trophy. I mean, it's already done deal. But all right, let's kind of move into the next award. Give me Offensive Rookie of the Year, Darien.
Bijan Robinson. I think this Falcons offense, most importantly, the run game is going to be a top 5 unit in the NFL. I think it's going to be the large part of the success of Bijan Robinson. So give me Bijan Robinson for Offensive Rookie of the Year.
All right, Offensive Rookie of the Year. This is our third award, unfortunately, that we agree on. Bijan Robinson is going to be my Offensive Rookie of the Year. I think there's.
I thought you were going to go Anthony Richardson.
Other guys? No, hell no, I'm not going Anthony Richardson. No, love the guy, love our Gators, man. I think Anthony Richardson's going to have a very solid. I think he's going to be better than a lot of people expect in his rookie season because you're not going to have a lot of tape to go off with him, and he's just an extremely dynamic playmaker. But Anthony Richardson's going to struggle in his rookie year. I think all of these rookie quarterbacks are going to struggle in their rookie year. C.J. Stroud, Bryce Young, Will Levis, if he really gets an opportunity at some point. Who knows with Will Levis, mayonnaise boy. But Bijan Robinson is definitely
the field, man. Oh my goodness, dog. The Titans are going to be a trash team. I'm sorry. Continue.
No. Bijan Robinson is definitely my Offensive Rookie of the Year. I know for a fact you're not going to agree with my Defensive Rookie of the Year. I'm going to surprise a lot of you people with this. Darien, who is your Defensive Rookie of the Year?
Well, I think it will go to a Texan. I have Will Anderson Jr. I think he's going to have a big season. Now, I have a wild card though.
Give me your wild card.
Jack Campbell, middle linebacker for the Detroit Lions. If he is as advertised, and he was very good at Iowa, and he had a very good camp in preseason. He is a very every down thumper, solid in coverage linebacker, man. He's like one of those. I mean, I always say if you got a white boy as your linebacker, he's good. He's good.
Just don't let him play corner.
Don't let him play corner, but he's playing a linebacker, boy. You got a white boy leading your linebacking core, boy. He's gonna be special. So yeah, I think Jack Campbell is a wild card. But my Defensive Rookie of the Year is going to be Will Anderson Jr. Also, Nick Herbig out there in Pittsburgh and maybe do something, but Will Anderson Jr.
All right, I'm very convinced in my betting odds on my Defensive Rookie of the Year. Give me Deonte Banks for the New York Giants. This guy is the best corner in this rookie class. Christian Gonzalez. I'm sorry, you're not Deonte Banks. Who's the other corner I'm missing off the top of my head from Seattle?
Devon Witherspoon.
Devon Witherspoon. You're not Deonte Banks. Deonte Banks is going to flourish because not only is he the best corner in this year's draft class, but this Giants front seven is nasty. They're going to be getting after the quarterback. They're going to target the rookie corner. We saw Sauce Gardner last year win Defensive Rookie of the Year. So now it's time for another guy in New York City to win Defensive Rookie of the Year in back-to-back seasons. Give me Deonte Banks winning convincingly this year's Defensive Rookie of the Year award.
If Deonte Banks wins Defensive Rookie of the Year convincingly, my goodness, man, the cornerback play in the NFL, if he can jump into that top 5 conversation, I don't think he will, but if he does, whoo, boy, we got some.
I didn't say Defensive Player of the Year. I said Defensive Rookie.
So I said Defensive Rookie. If you win Defensive Rookie of the Year, that means you're probably top 10 at your position. So probably. If he ends up winning this award, being a late first round pick, convincingly, he might be a top 5 corner in the NFL.
Let's pump the brakes on that top 5 talk. But I promise you, I have been pre-draft process throughout the preseason and still before week 1. I am the biggest Deonte Banks believer. I'm the biggest Deontay Banks believer.
I understand. But when you win those awards as a rookie, man, you're top 10 in conversations of your position, and Sauce Gardner is arguably the second best cornerback in the NFL right now.
Yeah, he not no Tyson Campbell. Let's just keep it honest, though. But let's get into our last award winner. Let's go into the big one that actually means everything. Darien, who is going to be your most valuable player award in 2020?
My MVP. You might not like this one, Brett.
Don't say it.
You got a new OC.
Okay, that's fine.
It's been talked about a lot. Strong arm quarterback. He has long flowing hair as well. Out there in LA. I got Justin Herbert, man. Justin Herbert is going to be the NFL MVP this season. I think he solidifies the top 5 conversation of quarterback play. I think he's going to have a crazy year, man. This offense is going to be very high octane, in my opinion. And I think it's going to be the large part of the quarterback play of Justin Herbert. Man, I think he can throw for, once again, 33 to 36 touchdowns this season. Maybe even 38 to 40. Who knows? Because Kellen Moore is going to throw that damn football, man.
I was about to say, Kellen Moore refuses to run the ball. When
he refuses. This might be a reason why he might have got out of Dallas, because him and Mike McCarthy might have had a mutual departure. So, give me Justin Herbert for MVP. MVP.
That's not a bad pick. Obviously, Justin Herbert's a phenomenal quarterback. Obviously, we've talked about in the past, this defense has been the worst defense in terms of giving up points, which is what has ultimately been the Chargers' downfall. But I saw Justin Herbert give up a 27-0 lead in person. I think me and you both.
Aaron Rodgers won back-to-back MVP and got knocked out the first round in back-to-back years.
Stop comparing Justin Herbert to a 4-time MVP and his former Super Bowl MVP.
It's a regular season award.
It is a regular season award, but don't you ever compare Justin Herbert to Aaron Rodgers again until we see Justin Herbert do something in the damn playoffs, even if it hasn't been his fault. I saw Justin Herbert blow a 27-0 lead. My MVP. We both were there live, and we got to witness it. Yeah. My MVP award winner is going to be another white boy, long, flowing, luscious hair. Jacksonville's Jesus, the prince that was promised. Give me Trevor Lawrence winning this year's MVP. 13-4, the number 1 seed in the AFC. Calvin Ridley into this offense. Christian Kirk, Zay Jones, Evan Ingram, Tank Bigsby, Brenton Strange. The list goes on. Trevor William Lawrence is going to win this year's NFL MVP award. Book market. It's happening.
Bro, if he wins MVP, he is the best Jaguars quarterback of all time. Point blank. I know Mark Brunell still holds that place right now. Gotta respect number 8. Gotta respect him. But if he captures that MVP, my goodness, bro. I mean,
I'm putting my money where my mouth is. I've said on record in the past on YouTube, I'm saying it here yet again, and I'm going to say it on TikTok. Trevor Lawrence is going to win this year's NFL MVP award. They're going to be 13-4. They're going to be the number 1 seed in the AFC. You bring in Calvin Ridley, who's now going to be entering the prime and who's had time to heal with his body. Christian Kirk, Zay Jones, Evan Ingram, Brenton Strange, Tank Bigsby. I don't need to keep repeating myself. Jamal Agnew. This team is stacked. This team is loaded. The offensive talent in the arsenal around Trevor Lawrence in year 3, really year 2 under Doug Peterson. Oh, baby. Oh, y'all don't even want to know how confident I am. Hey, respect Jamal Agnew. Respect Jamal Agnew.
Quick question before we get into the next topic.
What's up?
This is a real question, though. If Trevor Lawrence wins MVP, I know you get real hyped about these things and try to be objective as possible, Brett.
I'm going to try to be as objective.
But is he the best quarterback in football if he wins MVP?
Hell no. Trevor Lawrence will never be the best quarterback in the game of football. Never will be, as long as Patrick Mahomes is playing football.
Whoa, no.
I can say that convincingly.
Hold on now. Never be the best. Now, it was some years Peyton was the best quarterback in football, and Tom Brady was still winning championships now.
Peyton Manning, and all due respect to Peyton Manning, because we grew up watching Peyton Manning too. Peyton Manning was never the best quarterback in football as long as Tom Brady was playing. Okay, it's just that simple.
Like that take.
As great of a regular season quarterback as Peyton Manning was, and obviously he dominated. We watched this guy dominate our team for years, bro, and dominate the NFL. Look, I'm not taking anything away from Trevor. I'm just saying that Trevor Lawrence, nor Joe Burrow, or or Josh Allen, none of these guys will ever be the best quarterback in the game of football as long as Patrick Mahomes is under center for the Kansas City Chiefs or playing anywhere.
I don't agree.
It's just not going to happen. I
respect it.
Yeah. I mean, look, agree to disagree, but Patrick Mahomes is 1A. Everyone else is on the next tier down below, respectfully speaking.
Now they say
being objective as possible.
I got you. Now they've said it since his time in Clemson and entering the league. If he gets to a team that knows what they're doing, if he wins a championship or even the accolade of an MVP, he can be in that conversation of being the best quarterback in football, no
L-
matter what
l-
Patrick Mahomes does. Because given the fact that
yes,
he's
and
that
he will
generational
be.
quarterback,
Yes, he is a top 5, top 6 quarterback, I believe, in the game of football right now, and you're going to see it validated this upcoming season. And last thing I'm going to say about this Trevor Lawrence thing is that, yes, even if, hypothetically speaking, the Jags go to the Super Bowl this year, they win the Super Bowl, right? Obviously, that means Trevor Lawrence would get Super Bowl MVP, assuming all things went well, right? Trevor Lawrence, let's just say at the end of his Jaguars tenure, wins 3, 4 Super Bowls. Let's say Patrick Mahomes the next 6 years doesn't win a Super Bowl, but is obviously still dominating in the fashion in which we know Patrick Mahomes is dominating. I would still say Patrick Mahomes is still the best quarterback in the game of
no,
football.
the hell you won't.
From
Next
everything I've
topic.
seen,
Next topic.
yes.
Next topic. No, the hell you won't. Next topic. No, the hell
I
you
can do
won't.
that.
Next.
Bro, I'm being as objective as possible. Nobody is touching Patrick Mahomes. I don't care how talented. I don't care how many rings you got. Patrick Mahomes right now could retire with 2 rings. Or, I mean, let's not say retire. Patrick Mahomes could finish the rest of his career with 2 rings. Trevor could have 4 by the end of his career in Jacksonville. I would still say the talent is Patrick Mahomes.
You're lying
But
to me.
I'm
Next
not.
topic.
Why would I lie to you? Okay, let's get into our week 1 schedule pick'em. We're gonna keep a record. I can't take this seriously. We're gonna keep a record prediction of our overall records for me and Darien. Who we got, and like I said, at the end of the year, losers got to owe up $50 to the other guys. So like I said, Darien, you might as well just go ahead and pay me up now. First game of the season to kick off the 2023 season. Detroit at Kansas City, former Super Bowl champions, taking on the Detroit Lions, a team that has a lot of expectations coming into this year. Darien, talk to me about this matchup really quickly, and also give me a winner at the end of it.
Currently, the Chiefs are favored by 6.5 points. This game is going to be an Arrowhead, Thursday night football. Chill out. This is going to be an Arrowhead. The reigning Super Bowl champions are opening up. Give me the Chiefs. I think they win pretty convincingly. I think it's going to be an emotional win for them, right? Yeah, they don't have Chris Jones, but this offense is going to be humming. And now this could be a high scoring matchup as well. Who knows? But give me the Chiefs. I got them winning 28 to 17.
God damn. Okay.
Yeah, they're a 6-point favorite, so shit.
I mean, yeah, that's valid. When it comes to this matchup for me too, though. So no, I like Detroit to win this game. They're gonna go out there and they're gonna play spoiler for the Kansas City Chiefs. No Chris Jones is ultimately what's gonna derail this team. Detroit is going to run that ball down Kansas City's throat. Yeah, we know they've got talented playmakers on the outside. Jared Goff in this offense is going to run the ball down Kansas City throat. I think they're going to get damn near 200 rushing yards on opening day. They're going to have 180. Damn. That's my prediction. They're going to have 180 rushing yards. No Chris Jones is ultimately what's going to derail this team. I like Detroit to win this week 1 matchup. Starting off the year 1-0, feeling good about themselves. The Lions deserve this. The Lions fans deserve this. And I think this is going to get a lot of momentum building in the right direction for this team. But you got Kansas City winning week 1, right?
I do.
All right, great. Not week 2, but kind of going into the Sunday matchups, right? Let's start Sunday afternoon. Let's talk Jacksonville at Indianapolis. Give me a little bit of a preview, and then also give me a winner at the end.
All right, quick preview. I got the Jags comfortably. Their offense is going to be humming. Defensively, they're going to get enough stops. And I don't trust Anthony Richardson in game 1 to beat this Jaguars team, man. I just refuse to believe it, bro. This is going to be a very convincing win, probably one of the most convincing wins of week 1. I think this is going to be a 31-14 type of game, man. I respect the Colts defensively, of course, but the Jaguars are going to be able to move the ball. The offense for the Colts is not going to be able to stay on the field enough, in my opinion. And I don't think AR can really – I don't trust him as a passer right now, in my opinion. So give me the Jaguars 31-14, convincing win.
I don't think it's going to be as convincing of a win as you make it out to be, just because I think a lot of teams defensively, especially the Jags, are not going to be the first team to really play Anthony Richardson for a full 60 minutes. There's not as much tape on him. You're really going to have to rely upon a lot of what he did in preseason, which is very few and far in between, and then also a lot of his Florida tape. Shane Steichen in this offense, we know Jonathan Taylor is not going to be there more than likely, which I doubt he will be.
No run game.
That's definitely another thing too. I know, obviously Jacksonville's going to come away with a win week 1 at Indianapolis, but I don't think it's as convincing as you think. I think it'll be a lot closer of a battle. I think Jacksonville probably wins this game by only about 10 points. I like Jacksonville to probably win this game about 24-14, something around that number. I think Jacksonville's offense, for whatever reason, just kind of gets off on a little bit of a slow start, whereas they should be a high-powered offense in general this upcoming season. But I like Jacksonville to still win this game by at least double-digit in that margin when it comes to this week 1 matchup. But let's get into the next one because we both got Jacksonville winning. Give me Houston at Baltimore. Talk to me.
Baltimore, another convincing win. They're favored by 10 points. No, this Ravens, if the Ravens are a serious team this year, they kind of get past this team. Like I said, they'll win by 10 points at least. So give me the Ravens at home.
Yeah, I like Baltimore to win this game as well, too. I think this is where you see Lamar Jackson, like we saw in 2019 when he played at Miami, just absolutely obliterate that team. And that was the beginning of his MVP campaign. Same thing here, the Houston Texans. This defense definitely has a lot of nice pieces. I love Jalen Petrie and Derek Stingley a lot. And obviously, Will Anderson Jr. is going to have a solid rookie season. But Baltimore is going to win this game. Baltimore is clearly head and shoulders the better team. They're perennial contenders in the AFC. Let's move into the next matchup. An AFC North matchup, Cincinnati at Cleveland, week 1. Who do you got?
Ooh, this is going to be a very fun game, man. Give me...
Don't say it.
Well, I don't know, man. Man. You know, the Bengals, I think they lost last year's week 1. I think they lost the previous year's week 1 as well. Give me the Browns in a very close game.
Okay.
I think the Browns defend home turf, dog pound. They get the job done. They win a close game. I think the score is going to be like 24-21. Give me the Browns in a close match. I mean, they also do play the Bengals in totality pretty well as well. So give me the Browns in a close one.
Yeah, I got the dog pound actually defending home turf as well, too. I like Cleveland to win this game. I think this is Deshaun Watson's like low-key coming out party again. Like, hey, kind of reminding everybody I can kind of get back to that 2020 form when you guys last saw me out there. That defense is going to get after Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow is not going to have the kind of mobility, and he's probably going to have a little bit of a mental barrier to kind of get over himself over the next couple of weeks, kind of getting into the regular season. I like Cleveland to go out there and win this game week 1 over the Cincinnati Bengals. Let's get into the next matchup, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at the Minnesota Vikings, week 1.
Ooh, this is another tough game to preview, man, because both teams, in my opinion, won't be that good this year. However, if the Vikings want any chance to win the NFC North, they have to win games like this because they're, in my opinion, they should be the favorite. Give me the Vikings. I think they win at home. I think this offense ends up keeping this Buccaneers team unbalanced. Who's going to stop Justin Jefferson? Probably no one outside of – they got Carlton Davis, of course, up there. I like Jamel Dean and stuff like that, but this offense should be good enough to get past this Buccaneers squad. Give me the Vikings close game by 3.
Close game by 3. Damn, I don't think it'll be that close. I do got Minnesota winning this game as well, too. I think week 1's obviously always extremely unpredictable, especially when you talk about brand new quarterback in a system with a lot of firepower around him. I think Tampa Bay is going to be able to keep up, but I do like Minnesota to ultimately pull away at the end. The continuity of Kirk Cousins and Justin Jefferson in this team. I like Minnesota to win this game a little bit convincingly. I like them double digits in this game at home. Now let's get into the next matchup, a really good matchup, an underrated one, Tennessee at New Orleans.
Oh, we're just looking at this game, man. I think the New Orleans Saints are going to make a statement and win this game. If the Saints are 11-6 team, in my opinion, I think they are. They go out here and they take care of business. They're favored by 3 points. I think they win by that amount as well. I think they win around, like I said, 21-17, around that margin. There's not going to be too many high-scoring games this week, especially in the NFL. We all know these defenses are for real. Not college football, everybody.
This isn't college football.
Yeah. So 21-17. Titans got a very good run game with Derrick Henry, but I think this Saints team is for sure ready this year, man. Give me the Saints in a close one at home.
All right. One of the few ones that we disagree on. I got Tennessee going out there and winning week 1. Mike Vrabel's going to have his guys ready and prepared for a week 1 road game at New Orleans. I do think New Orleans is still very talented, especially this defense. I want to see how Derek Carr looks in his first game in a Saints uniform. I just trust Mike Vrabel and this Tennessee Titans team to be prepared and ready week 1. I think they're going to kind of steamroll this New Orleans team in the first game, kind of give New Orleans a little bit of a wake-up call. But Tennessee's going to go out there and win I won't say convincingly, but they're going to have a solid win in week 1, I think, at New Orleans. Next matchup, we got an NFC South preview, the Carolina Panthers at the Atlanta Falcons.
Give me the Falcons. If the Falcons want to be a playoff team this year, they have to win this game. This is a winnable game on the schedule, in my opinion. I think they are favored by.
Serious, man. Come on.
If they're favored by 3.5 points, give me the Falcons. I think they win by a touchdown. Give me the Falcons.
Nope. I got Carolina winning this game, man. Week 1, I like Bryce Young to go out there in his NFL debut on the road go out there and get a big week 1 victory. Adam Thielen is going to put on a show on that Falcons secondary. I know AJ Terrell and Jeff Okuda are probably going to do their thing, but I don't know. I just have this uncanny confidence right now in Bryce Young the first couple of weeks of the season. I really like this young kid a lot too. So I got Carolina winning week 1. Let's get into the next matchup, one that you like a lot. San Francisco at Pittsburgh.
Yes. If you're watching this game, you have Red Zone Sunday Ticket, turn this game on, please. If you, of course, watch your other team play, but watch this game. This is going to be a big time matchup, man. This is one of my games of the week. Steelers, Niners. Is this game in Pittsburgh or is it in the Bay Area?
No, it's at Pittsburgh.
Man, I think it's the coming out party for Kenny Pickett in the sophomore campaign. Give me the Steelers.
Against that defense?
Well, Nick Bosa might not be playing. They got a few more days to get a contract together. But if Nick Bosa doesn't get a contract before Sunday, he is not playing. And I'm pretty sure if he doesn't get a contract before Thursday, he's not playing, in my opinion. So give me the Steelers in a close one. I think Kenny Pickett balls out. Brock Purdy is still a bit coming off that injury. I think he's going to have some erratic throws, maybe turn the ball over a little bit. And the Steelers in week 1 are that defense is flying around. Last year, they made Joe Burrow's life a living hell. And I think they get out to Brock Purdy and they cause some mayhem. And I think they win this game 21-13. I said 3 points, but give me 21-13 Pittsburgh Steelers at home.
Yeah, I mean, you were right. I mean, I remember watching that Cincinnati and Pittsburgh game last year. Thinking,
man.
What the hell is Joe Burrow doing? Was it like 4 interceptions? Like start off
4
the game?
interceptions, had a pick 6. I mean, boy, TJ Watt was everywhere. Minka Fitzpatrick was clowning. I mean, big time win for the Steelers last year, week 1. So I think they replicate the same success this week against the Niners.
Yeah, we've been disagreeing a lot too. We're going to disagree here again, though. I got San Francisco going on the road, beating the Steelers. I still think the Steelers are still going to be a very good team. I got them 9-8 this year. Kenny Pickett's still going to have a great year, a better year than Dak Prescott for sure. Like the weapons in Pittsburgh, but I'm telling you right here, right now, I still am very confident in the San Francisco 49ers team in general. I like them to go on the road week 1. Kyle Shanahan, they're going to take care of business. Let's kind of finish up these last couple of matchups, man. Arizona at Washington.
This could be a game that Cardinals could come out and win, being one of their 4 wins of the schedule or 3 wins. But give me the Commanders, man. They'll win. They'll find a way to win this game, man. Commanders play really well at home. They're in their week 1s as well. Last year they embarrassed the Jaguars a little bit, so give me the Commanders.
Yeah, I like the Commanders to go out there and win this game week 1. Sam Howell, I think, is going to be a guy that's going to have a relatively solid season. I don't think he's going to be really ever like a Pro Bowl level quarterback. I mean, time will tell, but he's got a great arsenal around him. A lot of talented guys. So we both got Washington winning this game. Let's go Las Vegas Raiders at the Denver Broncos.
Ooh, this is going to be, like I said, the Broncos struggled against the Raiders in years past. I think this is the year they get the Raiders at least one time. Give me the Broncos this game by 3.
By 3?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I've got Denver winning this game as well, too. I like Sean Payton to come out and get this team prepared and ready. But don't be surprised if Las Vegas goes out there and kind of...
I wouldn't be either.
Convincingly wins that game. Because I don't know. There's just something about this Denver team. I just do not like this team. I know they cannot get over that hump.
Yeah, I got you.
You know? Yeah, so let's go into the next matchup. We got Miami at LA Chargers. So Tua versus Justin Herbert. Number 5 versus number 6. Let's see how this goes.
Last year, the Chargers made Tua's life a living hell. I'm pretty sure Mike McDaniels has this game schedule circled on his schedule. Give me the LA Chargers, though. They're favored to win this game by 6.5 points, I want to say. Give me the Chargers.
I like Miami to go out there week 1 on the road at SoFi, take care of business. I'm obviously not going to be surprised if the Chargers go out there week 1. This is going to be a high explosive offense. But I like Miami to go on the road and take care of business. I think Tua does a great job in week 1. Let's go into another matchup, Philadelphia at New England.
For some odd reason, the odd makers are having this game close. They have Philly favored by 3.5. I'm not sure why. Give me the Philadelphia Eagles in convincing fashion, man.
Yeah, I like Philadelphia to go out there in convincing fashion, win at New England week 1 in Foxborough. All right, man, Green Bay at Chicago and NFC North preview.
Big time matchup. Jordan Love, Justin Fields. It's going to be great quarterback play. A little erratic at times, maybe, but it's going to be a lot of highlight throws and stuff like that in plays. Give me the Packers, though. No, my bad. Give me the Bears. Give me the Bears.
Whoa, okay. Bears starting the year off 1-0.
It's in Chicago. Give me the Bears. Yes, give me the Bears.
I wouldn't be surprised. I think Justin Fields has an absolute phenomenal day week 1. I think he's going to run all over that Packers defense. I like Green Bay to still win this game, though. I think ultimately, in the moment, in the clutch, I think Jordan Love's going to come through for this team, and he's going to make some plays down the stretch. Last three matchups we got. Now we got Los Angeles Rams at the Seattle Seahawks.
Seattle. Move on. Seattle convincingly.
Seattle's going to win this game at Seattle. At was it CenturyLink Field now? Is that
CenturyLink
what it is?
Field,
Yeah, CenturyLink. Yep. Give me Seattle winning that game. Dallas at the New York Giants. This is going to be a really, really good game.
Another one of my game of the weeks, primetime football, Sunday night football. I can't go into a deep preview about it. Get on my TikTok. You'll see my preview about it later this week. But give me the Dallas Cowboys, but the Giants, man. Don't be surprised if they have this upset. But it's in Jerry's World and Meadowlands.
It's at MetLife.
I said Meadowlands. MetLife. Oh man. Give me the Dallas Cowboys still, but it's gonna be close. It's gonna be a fun matchup. Give me the Cowboys.
Nah, man, I'm taking the Giants, man. You're gonna see Deontay Banks coming out party, man. Week one to assert himself as the leader for Defensive Rookie of the Year, man. I like this Giants team to take care of business, man. Saquon Barkley is gonna be energetic. He's gonna be motivated. Not a believer in Dak Prescott, man. Daniel Jones gonna have a very solid game as well too. Like this Giants team a lot this year. Well, not a lot, but they're gonna be good. I like the Giants to win week one. Now getting into Monday Night Football, the last matchup. The Buffalo Bills at the New York Jets.
Is it
at New York?
Yeah. No, I don't know how they did this, but New York, MetLife has back-to-back games. They have a game Monday night, and they got to prepare for a game. They have a game Sunday night. They got to prepare for a game Monday night. So feel bad. Got to feel bad for those workers. But anyways, give me the Buffalo Bills.
Popeyes meme.
Give me the Buffalo Bills. I think this Jets defense is going to be on fire, but this offense might be a little behind schedule. Give me the Bills in a very, very close game.
All right, sounds good, man. We both agree here as well, too. I like the Buffalo Bills, the continuity and the chemistry of this team. Aaron Rodgers, I think, is going to struggle a little bit in week one, but I think it's going to be a really high-powered matchup in general. I think it's going to be a lot of fun to watch these two teams go head-to-head all year, but that's going to be kind of it for this episode of the podcast, man. We got a whole lot done. I think this was a really great episode. Got a lot of topics out of the way, man. And now we got all of our NFL record predictions and award-winning predictions on record. So now we can come back and visit this video later on. Darien, man, what a great podcast it's been, bro.
Yes, sir. This is definitely fun, man. I'm excited. Week one NFL season, man. Boy, it's going to be a great, great year, man. More content on the way. Thank y'all for tapping in with us, man.
Absolutely, man. And last thing I kind of want to say is before I wrap this up, man, we're recording this every Monday on Labor Day, man. So make sure y'all enjoy your Labor Day week, man. Make sure y'all actually give yourselves a little bit of a round of applause for slaving away at a job that you probably don't love and having to pay taxes to Uncle Sam. I know a lot of us are out here, including me and Darien, working to continuously make sure that we can put ourselves into a future, into a career where we're self-employed and we're financially stable off of our own work. And that's the goal one day. Can't speak for everybody, but I speak for us too when I say that that's the goal for us. But, man, make sure y'all enjoy your week, man. We got week one of the NFL season. It's going to be great. We can't wait to talk about the recap and what we saw next week in week one. And just, man, it's just exciting time, man. Jags better be 13-4 and just poof.
Yes, sir.
Man, it's going to be great.
Yes, and also before we go, Brett has a phenomenal video dropping on the 8th of September. Make sure y'all tap in, man. He didn't want to drop. I guess he forgot to mention it, but yeah, he's got a little hype video coming out for the Jaguar season, man. Make sure y'all tap in.
Yeah, man. I appreciate
YouTube.
That, bro.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. But that's all I got to say.
Man. I've been trying to keep it on the DL, man. A new era for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Not sure what I'm gonna title it yet, even though I know it's gonna be something, a new era. But man, I got a little cinematic movie, documentary, whole 30-minute vibe. Like it's literally a whole short film, man. This is special, man. Something I've never done before, and I know y'all definitely going to love it, man. So make sure y'all tap in September 8th, this Friday, 7 p.m. Eastern, man. It's going to be great. Make sure y'all tap in. But, hey, like I said, it's been a great week. It's been a great episode, and I know we're going to have a great week of football ahead of us and a lot to look forward to, man. Thank you guys for tapping in, man. Episode 4 of the Don't Overthink It podcast. And like always, don't overthink it.